Welcome to the Investment Dive, brought to you by Corporate Capital Market Limited. Joining you today are your hosts, Amanda and Adrian.
We all have that picture in our heads, don't we? You know, the ideal retirement. Maybe it's traveling, maybe learning a new skill, or just enjoying a quiet coffee.
Yeah, that dream retirement, stress-free.
Exactly. But getting there means facing this huge, honestly kind of scary question. Have I actually saved enough?
It's the big one.
So we did a deep dive into a source that really gets granular on this, specifically for India. It's based on a discussion with financial expert Upasana Koul called "Do You Have Enough Saved to Retire in India?"
Right.
And our goal here, for you listening, is to pull out 5, let's call them financial reality checks. Things you really need to weave into your own retirement thinking, like right now.
Okay.
We're aiming for specific, nuanced truths for planning retirement securely in India, not just, generic advice.
And maybe the best place to start, the absolute foundational truth is, forget the standard number, just throw it out.
What do you mean?
I mean, the biggest mistake people make is chasing some generalized figure they read somewhere, like, I need X crores. That's not the starting point.
Yeah. Ah, I see. Yeah, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Everyone wants the number. Is it 5 crores? 10.
Exactly. And Koul was super clear on this. Enough is totally fundamentally personal.
So the mistake isn't always saving too little. Sometimes it's aiming for the wrong target altogether, based on someone else's life.
Precisely. Your retirement corpus, that total savings goal, it hinges on, well, 4 critical things. Miss one, and the whole plan can just wobble.
Okay, what are they?
First up, your lifestyle. Simple question. Downsize or upgrade? Are you moving somewhere cheaper, or are you planning for, say, more travel, bigger house?
Right, that makes a huge difference.
Huge. Second, location. Retiring in Mumbai or Bengaluru, that's a completely different financial world than, say, a Tier 2 or Tier 3 city.
The cost of living difference is massive. Housing, services, everything.
It can change your target corpus by crores easily. Then the other two, maybe less fun, health and longevity.
Yeah, gotta be realistic there. How's your health now, and how long does this money actually need to last? If you're 45, you could easily live another 40 years.
That's a long time. And costs generally go up, not down, especially medical ones. So the real action here, it's simple but critical. Forget your neighbor's number, forget your colleague's number, model your expenses.
Including potential lifestyle changes, unexpected stuff.
Yep. Project it out. 10, 20, 30 years. That's the only number that actually means anything for you.
Okay, so let's say you've got that personal budget nailed down, but even the best budget today,
Yeah.
well, its value can get eaten away over time, right?
Exactly, which brings us straight to the second big reality check. Inflation.
The silent killer of savings.
Well, in India, it's maybe not so silent. And it kind of has 2 heads. There's the general inflation, the consumer price index stuff.
Right, the everyday cost of living going up.
And then there's the really alarming one, medical inflation. These aren't just like potential risks here. They're pretty much guarantees. You have to budget aggressively for them.
Okay, let's try and put some rough figures on that. Because this is where people often panic, but it's also where planning needs to get really specific. General inflation. Maybe 6-7%, give or take.
Yeah, around that ballpark historically.
Right.
But healthcare costs. The source material hammers this point home. Medical inflation in India often hits 10%, even 15% a year.
Wow, okay. 10 to 15%.
Think about what that means. A surgery costing, say, 5 lakhs today. If you're 50 now, by the time you're 65, that could easily be over 20 lakhs.
That's sobering.
It is. So if your retirement plan doesn't factor that in properly using a higher rate for healthcare, maybe 12% versus, say, 7% for general costs, you're basically planning to fail. You're building in a massive shortfall.
So you can't just use one average inflation number for everything. That's a huge takeaway.
Definitely not. You need to assume specialized care, medicines, procedures. They're going to climb faster than your general living costs, maybe even faster than your investments if you're not careful. So don't just look at your current health insurance premium and think, okay, covered. Think about the actual cost of serious care today.
And then compound that number.
Compound it by 12 or 13% for 20 years out. And make sure you've got a separate buffer specifically for that. Tag the 25X rule and the safe withdrawal rate.
Okay, so moving from these big risks to maybe something more tangible, there's this rule you hear a lot, the 25 times annual expenses rule.
Right, the 25X rule. It's often thrown out there as a starting point.
Yeah, like a quick benchmark. So for our listener, if your personalized budget says you need, say, 10 lakhs a year in retirement.
Then the rule suggests your target corpus is 25 times that, so 2.5 crores minimum.
Minimum. But hang on, we need to pause here, right? Because this rule and the assumptions behind it, this is where a lot of people get tripped up.
Absolutely. The 25x rule isn't just pulled out of thin air. It comes from something called the 4% rule, which is all about the safe withdrawal rate, or SWR.
SWR, okay, that sounds important.
It is. The basic idea of the SWR, the 4% version anyway, is this. In your first year of retirement, you withdraw 4% of your total savings.
Okay.
Then, every year after that, you take out the same amount, but adjust it upwards only for inflation.
Got it.
And if you stick to that 4% initial withdrawal, historically, studies showed your money had a really high chance of lasting 30 years, maybe more.
And 4% withdrawal, that's the inverse of 25 times your expenses. 100 divided by 4 equals 25.
Exactly. That's where the 25x comes from.
But wait a minute, that 4% rule, wasn't it developed mostly in the U.S., using U.S. market returns, U.S. inflation, which historically have often been lower than India's?
Bingo. That's the critical challenge Koul points out in the source. You can't just assume a U.S.-based model works perfectly here.
Because our inflation is higher, market volatility can be different.
Right. So many financial planners in India are now saying, look, to be truly safe here, maybe your withdrawal rate needs to be lower, like closer to 3.5% or even 3%.
Okay, and what does that do to the numbers if you need 10 lakhs a year?
Well, dropping from a 4% CWR to a 3.5% CWR means your target corpus jumps from 2.5 crores to over 2.85 crores.
Wow, okay, that's a significant jump just from adjusting the withdrawal rate down slightly.
It is. So the big caveat with the 25x rule isn't just about getting your base expenses right, though that's absolutely critical.
Yeah, making sure that 10 lakhs truly covers everything: housing, travel, health premiums, emergencies.
All of that. But it's also about questioning if 4% is the right withdrawal rate for you in India. It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem, right? But here, the garbage gets multiplied by 25 or even 30.
Makes sense. You have to be conservative on both the expense estimate and the withdrawal rate.
Precisely. #tag the power of consistency, not just starting early.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about the numbers, the risks. What about the process? There's that age-old advice. Start early, stay consistent, let compounding work its magic.
Yeah, it's maybe the oldest advice in the book, but the math is just undeniable. Starting early gives your money decades to grow.
Even small amounts, right? Started young, they can really snowball.
Absolutely. You look at the difference between someone starting, say, $20,000 a month at age 25 versus waiting until 40. Even if they get the same investment return, the final amount at age 60 is vastly different.
Time is the biggest asset there. Your money does the heavy lifting.
It really does. But, you know, the source material also really emphasized that starting early. That's only half the equation.
Right. It's the consistency that's the real challenge, especially somewhere as dynamic as India.
Exactly. What trips people up, often it's a couple of things. First, unexpected family stuff.
Yeah.
An emergency, helping out parents or siblings. Things that force you to dip into savings or stop contributing for a while.
Life happens, basically.
Life happens. And second, just not reviewing the plan. People set it up once, maybe in their 30s, and then just let it run.
And hope for the best.
Kind of. But consistency isn't just about putting money in regularly. It's about adjusting regularly, too. You need to look at your investments. Are they still right for your age and risk tolerance? You need to update your health cover. We just talked about how critical that is. And you need to increase how much you're saving as your income grows.
So a plan made at 30 is almost certainly out of date by 50 if you haven't touched it.
Almost guaranteed to be inadequate, yeah. Consistent review and tweaking are essential. It's not about perfection, just course correction.
Right, bringing it back into line each year.
Exactly. #tag building in margin for error.
Okay, and that idea of course correction, of things changing, that leads really nicely into the final reality check. You absolutely have to build in a margin for error.
Yeah, life is just unpredictable, isn't it?
Totally. Career changes, maybe a layoff, kids' education suddenly costs way more than you thought. These things happen.
They do. And they mean that perfect corpus number you calculated back in your 30s, it probably needs revising, maybe significantly, in your 40s or 50s.
So you need flexibility.
You need flexibility, and flexibility usually requires, well, extra money. Koul's final key point was about factoring in a real buffer, something beyond just your standard inflation calculation.
Okay, so not just padding the inflation numbers, but like a separate pot of money.
Sort of. Think of it as your oh crap fund, specifically for the retirement phase.
Okay, the oh crap fund. I like it.
It's the money for when that unexpected 15 lakh medical bill lands. Or your house needs a major repair you didn't budget for. Or maybe a family member genuinely needs help.
Right. Things you can't easily predict but know might happen.
Exactly. If you don't have that buffer, where does the money come from? It comes from your main retirement corpus.
The pot that's supposed to be generating your income via that safe withdrawal rate?
Precisely. And if you start eating into that core pot, you're effectively increasing your withdrawal rate, maybe significantly, even if just temporarily.
Which, as we discussed, dramatically increases the risk of running out of money later on.
It does. So that margin for error, that buffer, it's like financial stability insurance for your retirement plan. It protects the core engine.
It lets that 3.5% or 4% withdrawal rate stay sacred even when life throws you a curveball.
That's the idea. If you're going to make an error in your planning, err on the side of having a slightly bigger corpus. The peace of mind is worth it.
Okay, so we've unpacked these 5 big truths. Let's make this really concrete now. What should you, the listener, actually do? Like today or this weekend?
Right. Time for action. Don't put this off. Grab a spreadsheet, grab a notebook, whatever works.
Step 1.
Step 1 is probably the toughest. Project your expenses. Really estimate what you spend now, annually. Then project it forward 15, 20 years out.
And critically, use those dual inflation rates we talked about. High for medical, maybe slightly lower, but still significant for general living costs.
You don't skimp on that. Second, define your retirement. Pick a target age. And crucially, pick a target location. Where do you actually plan to live?
Because that locks in your cost of living for potentially decades.
Absolutely fundamental. Third, gauge healthcare. Seriously, stop just looking at premiums. Research comprehensive health plans. Start thinking about and budgeting for potential long-term care needs down the line.
That's a big one people often miss, isn't it? The long-term care costs.
Huge and often ignored. Fourth, calculate your safe withdrawal rate. Based on those inflation numbers, based on Indian market realities, figure out what your SWR should be.
Be honest with yourself. Is 4% realistic? Or do you need to model based on 3.5% or even 3%?
And see what that does to your target corpus. Finally, step 5, review your investments. Are they diversified? Yes. Okay. But are they actually positioned to consistently beat the kind of inflation we see in India?
Right. Earning 8% when inflation is 7%, that's barely staying afloat in real terms.
You need a portfolio designed to fight real, often high, inflation over the long term. That requires active thought and maybe adjustments. Hashtag tag outro.
So if we try and wrap all this up, I guess the core message is that retirement planning, it's not a one-and-done task you can just tick off a list or delegate to someday.
No, definitely not. It's more like a journey, right? A financial journey. You need to start early, navigate carefully using conservative numbers, and importantly, adjust pretty regularly all through your working life.
Complacency really is the biggest enemy here, isn't it? Assuming things will just work out.
It really is. And maybe the final thought, connecting back to that idea of enough. What does it really mean?
Yeah.
It's probably not about hitting some magic crore figure you saw online. It's more about, well, deeply and honestly understanding your own life, your values, your likely future needs, the specific risks you face living where you live.
And then proactively planning for all that?
Proactively planning, building in buffers, and staying consistent. That's probably closer to the real definition of having enough for a secure retirement.
A much deeper definition. Okay, well, the message is clear. Start planning or reviewing your plan today. You'll definitely thank yourself later.
Absolutely.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.